we live in such a fast-paced, moving world, okay? Companies that have been around forever and ever and ever just went under with COVID because they weren't able to adapt and adjust and move and pivot, right? Like if you don't move in 2020, you're gonna die.
Welcome to The Defense Never Rests with Morgan and Akins, your monthly dose of uncommon sense about all things legal and some that are not.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Defense Never Rests. I am your host, Trisha Baxter, and today we're talking job market or job searching. Joining me again, hello, Talar. Welcome back. How are you?
Hi, Trish. Thanks for having me back. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I know that we share this kind of give back thing. Like you give back in your own way through SOAR, your charity. And I have my own kind of way of giving back. And part of that's this podcast. I feel like if I can give a spotlight to people and help them, that they help other people. And that's kind of what we did today. I know a lot of my network is hurting for this job market. A lot of people have been laid off, a lot of people out of work, and some for months, if not longer, years maybe. And they're not sure exactly what they can do to stand out. So today's episode, we are talking to Trevor Houston. He's a fascinating guy. Like his job is in financial services, but his passion and mission is something else. His passion and mission is really to help those job seekers stand out. And he has a whole infrastructure about it. And we're going to talk about it a little bit today. But what do you see? Do you see your contacts having struggle with the job market?
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually make it a point. I will reach out to people whose profile says looking for work because I want to help them find work and introduce them to my network and other connections. And just like what you're doing, with your podcast, connect the job seekers to the resources that are available. So there's definitely a lot of people looking for work in my network as well. But I'm also seeing people who found them. Antonio Flores, I think his name was, and he was on LinkedIn and he was looking for work, and then people just started spreading the word. It got to the point where I believe the CEO of LinkedIn was even sharing his profile. He got a job, and I connected with him, and it's so fun to see success stories like that. So if you can be a part of that success story, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I love it too. And so when I reached out to Trevor, I know him not personally, but I've seen what he does, and he does so many things. And I'll ask him about that. We'll ask him about that on today. But I'm hoping that we really get into some nitty-gritty advice, some tips that we can give to people that are searching for jobs and how they can stand out. So let's go ahead and bring him in. Trevor Houston, the talk show host of the talk show Who You Know. It's a fabulous show, by the way. Well, welcome, Trevor, to the podcast. I'm super excited to have you. How are you?
So good. How are you?
I'm good. So I asked you on the podcast because I have seen you do such amazing work with helping people find jobs. And I found out through researching you a little bit that that's actually not your job. You do it as a passion project. That, I was trying to think of when I looked at you, I'm like, oh my God, he has so many hats. How does he find time in the day? This man is inhuman. So let's just start off with what you do and how that kind of developed into your passion project of helping people find jobs.
Yeah, so I am the CEO of ClearPath Wealth Strategies. I'm a financial services professional, and I help people with, retirement, investments, college savings, insurance, all that good stuff, right? Well, during my time in my first year doing financial services, I was sitting down over coffee, networking with a gentleman. And we were sitting down and he was telling me what he does. And I was telling him what I do. And I said, I help people with 401k rollovers, and I help people with insurance, benefits, and all this kind of stuff. And he goes, oh, you do rollovers? And I said, yeah, that's a big area that I help people with. And he goes, you need to go to this job networking group in Southlake, and you need to go check it out. There's a bunch of folks over there that would benefit from your services that could use you. And so me and my business partner, Mark Elder, we went over there to check it out. And during that time, we got introduced to Foster Williams, who's one of the co-hosts on our Who You Know Job Networking show. So we got introduced to him, and we walked in the room, and it was like, as soon as we walked in, we like got punched in the face with this, like, I don't know, you could just feel it in the air. There was like this, I don't even know how to explain it or describe it. Like, people were hurting, right? Like, I walk in the room and I'm walking here and these people are just hurting. There's like 100 job seekers in there. They're going through a rough time. You could cut the tension with a knife. People are depressed, anxiety, fear, stress, you name it. And we're in the church, and that's where this group meets, right? We're in the church.
And when is this, by the way? What year is this?
2015. So about 5 years ago. As we walk in that room, this is at Frisco Connect is the group, and this is at Stonebriar Community Church in Frisco, Texas. And so we go there, and I'm like feeling this this need, and so I looked over my business partner Mark, and I said, "Man, we gotta, like, we can't just come in here and start pitching rollovers. Like, that's not going to help anybody, and plus we'll probably get kicked out of here. Like, let's just be real about it. Like, if I go in there and start doing that, that's not going to be the right approach, right? That's number one. Number two, I was like, well, let's figure out how we can actually help these folks. So what we did is we were just kind of a fly on the wall, and we went to a few meetings, sit back, listen to what people were saying. And what we found was that 90% of the jobs that were getting landed were through networking. Wasn't what you know, it's who you know, right? It's the networking. And so it was the referrals. But the problem is that everybody talks about networking to get a job. Like, you hear it all the time. You got to network. But most of these people, they were not in a position in their career where they had to network. So they didn't really understand it. Most of them are like IT, sitting behind a computer, and they didn't have to like build relationships and connect and like network. So I was like, man, we need to teach these people how to network. And let's open our network to them. Let's build a network for them to support them. And so we started doing a lot of things over time to like build a network to support them of recruiters, coaches, hiring managers. And that's kind of where it all started. It really got, it started with networking. I was having coffee and they told me, go check out the job seekers. You need to go help them. And I just leaned in, and super passionate about it because these people are hurting. There's a lot of need. And so, yeah, that's my passion.
I think that's amazing. I mean, there's people that have passion and kind of just sit on it and don't do anything about it. You had the passion, and not only did you do something about it, you continue to do something about it. 5 years later, what you're doing is even bigger than what you were doing when you first started out. Tell us about right now. What does that involve for you? What is your mission involve? I know you have a talk show, but I know you do more than that. So
Sure.
Describe for the audience what exactly that you do in the job seeking area.
Yeah, so we got a lot of different things going on. It all centers around the Who You Know Job Networking Show. The Who You Know Job Networking Show, we invite recruiters, hiring managers, coaches, job seekers, anybody who can uplift the audience of job seekers out there. So a lot of times we'll bring on, business owners and entrepreneurs and anybody that, again, can elevate the mindset of a job seeker. So that's kind of like the heartbeat of it, right? Is the Who You Know Job Networking Show. But then we also have training. So we have a workshop that we teach on Mondays. We have Coach's Corner, which is also on Mondays. We do, right now I'm creating an online course, writing a book. We've got a mobile app that'll be out in about 2 weeks. All of these different things, all this resources and support to help the job seekers, right? And it's just, it's growing, and especially with COVID, oh my gosh, so many job seekers on the market now. So I just feel blessed to be able to give back in the community in this space, because, like how awesome is that? Like COVID happened and I got to actually help people, and I'm getting elevated for it, which is cool. So it helps me. And I hate to say that, like, it sounds bad, like, oh, I benefited from a bad situation, but no, I'm being elevated because I'm helping people get through that bad situation, right? And it's just awesome. I love it. I just think that how cool is that I get to actually help these people.
I think that's so awesome. And I'm overwhelmed with the list that you just provided.
Me too.
Because there's just so much in there. But I did want to make a comment about what you said. I have learned so much from LinkedIn. And one of the very wise messages I found was stop apologizing. So I would like you to stop apologizing for being elevated through this horrible situation. And the reason why, at least my personal opinion, which is usually the right opinion, you'll come to find that out. Yeah, it's not funny, it's true.
I like you. I like you.
I knew you guys would like each other.
I like you.
Oh, I appreciate that, Trevor. But it's one thing just to elevate in a selfish mode. Selfish is not a word I would use to describe you in what you've described so far, because you are getting elevated yourself, but you're bringing everybody else up with you. That I feel like that's the beauty of what you're doing. And I wish more people would do that. And then everybody could be, elevated together. There's enough room to be elevated together. So that's my TED Talk, which is now ended.
Your 2-minute TED Talk.
Yes. The question that I had for you that I'm really fascinated about is tell us about this mobile app. What is the mobile app?
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Oh man, I've been dreaming. I've had that as a vision for a long, long time. So I don't know what the churches are like where you guys are from, but I go to a church here in McKinney called Covenant Church. And that's the way I visioned this, right? It's a community, right? You're building community. And so the show is like our sermon. Right? We're preaching. I mean, I'm not a preacher, but I'm preaching. I'm lifting people up. Okay. I have to. Like you said, I got to pull these people up with me. Mm-hmm. And so that's what the show is. But the app is one place where they can go, they can watch, they can go look at previous shows, they can watch live, they can create a profile, they can chat with each other. Recruiters can create profiles, the job seekers can create profiles. We can connect them, put them in the same place at the same time. It's going to list resources, events, our online course, all kinds of different things. We just have so much. And right now, if you said, tell me about the show and all the different things you got going on. Well, I got stuff all over the place. I mean, we have so much, but it's like, okay, here's a group on Facebook. Here's a group on LinkedIn. Here's this, here's that. And then we got stuff all over the place. Well, the app is just going to bring it all together. And so people can just download that thing. They can share it and spread the message. It's like spread the gospel, right? Like get that thing out there so we can help more and more and more people. And that's the way I envision it.
Do you have a name for the app yet?
The app. I don't know. No, I don't. I guess I don't have a name for it. That's a good one. What should I name it? What do you think?
I think you should call it Trish and Talar.
I knew there would be a Talar somewhere in that suggestion. I knew it.
Hey, I'm allowed to promote myself too, right? I'll bring everybody else with me.
It's bad branding.
It is.
Trish and Talar says nothing about job seekers.
TNT. Dynamite.
I have a walkthrough next week. The company I'm using is BuildFire. They've been really, really good creating it and stuff like that. So I have a walkthrough next week to kind of see what they've created and put together, and I'm excited about it. And it should be released, in a couple of weeks. So there you go.
Well, you'll have to let us know what the name is when you officially decide. I'm a big fan of the Who You Know stuff. I love all your branding around that. Just before I get into the meat of it, though, where can people find the talk show? Is it only on LinkedIn or do you have it separate?
That's what I'm saying. So we got it all over the place. I'm on like 10 different channels. So LinkedIn is where the audience is primarily. Okay. So like we've got all the other channels. We got YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, you name it. I got like 4 Facebook channels. Then there's all the podcast stations, okay? But you know how many of those there are, right? Like there's a million podcast stations and we're on all of them. So, but where you're gonna find the audience really in the community and everybody plugging in and helping support is on LinkedIn. We're talking about job search. So the Who You Know Job Networking Show, I would encourage people, it's 3 p.m. Wednesdays, Central Time, 3 p.m. Central. Go to my profile, my LinkedIn profile, and you'll see it go live and get in those comments. That's where the party's happening. That's where you see a magic happens. We'll put recruiters and job seekers in the same place at the same time. And literally the recruiters are hiring these job seekers from the comments.
That's amazing.
From the live comments. Like, as we tell them, hey, go put in your hashtag, put in your whatever you're searching for. So put in hashtag project management. The recruiter will, if they're looking for a project manager, they're going to go look at their profile and then they hire them. I'm like, this is crazy.
That's gotta feel good too. Like when you see those connections, like, that's awesome.
The live feed's going, and then all of a sudden somebody reaches out and they're like, I landed a job because I was watching your show and I put my hashtag in there. And I'm like,
that's awesome. Well, let's get into the meat of it then. If LinkedIn is kind of where you think most people should focus their time on, I want to talk about that. And I also, before that, I just want to comment, I saw a big uptick in my client audience, if you will, which is a lot of claims adjusters, claims professionals. But I also saw it in lawyers once COVID hit. You know, there was significant layoffs. I got probably triple, if not 10 times more people reaching out to me asking if I knew of any job opportunities. I couldn't keep them straight. Like I had all these DMs and I just couldn't, as much as I wanted to help. Like, you have the infrastructure to help. I didn't have the infrastructure to help, but I did some posts, I did a podcast and stuff. So I think this is my way of helping. And I love that we did this episode, but I do follow you for that reason, because you have the infrastructure to connect people.
Well, you know what's cool about what you're saying, real quick, I will say, what you're doing is exactly what I did in the beginning, right? In the beginning, I had no idea how to help, right? All I knew was networking. So what I did was I took the job seekers and I connected them with resources. So that's what you're doing right now.
You're my resource. I'm connecting them with you.
Bingo. So that's what I did. And I actively went out pursuing different resources. I was like, okay, I've got an audience over here, job seekers. Now what do I need? I need career coaches and I need recruiters and I need companies. So I would go out and go find those people so I could be the connector in the middle and just put them together. That's what I've always done. Just put these two people together and great things happen from it. So you are doing it. You are Who You Know. You are the network.
All right. Well, let's start with LinkedIn. I know.
Okay.
I know. I don't want to say it's a networking thing, but what can people do? Let's do a top 5 list of what people can do to make themselves stand out. And if they're out of a job, connect with somebody who has that job. Let's start with, I know you put together a list for me. Let's start with number 1. First thing you could do as soon as you finish listening to this podcast that could help them find a job.
Well, one of the first things that I would do is, if you're not on LinkedIn, you need to get on LinkedIn. Okay. That's huge. If you're not on LinkedIn, gosh, what rock have you been living under? Okay. Get on LinkedIn right now and optimize your profile, okay? So there's a lot of different things you can do to optimize your profile, your banner image, your headline, your summary section. It's kind of a beast, okay? There's a lot to it, but you can get with us. We have programs that'll teach you how to do that. It's free, but optimizing your LinkedIn profile, it's gotta be number 1 so that you're searchable, and when they find you, like, does it have, this would be my second tip, does it have calls to action? Okay, so if I'm a recruiter and I finally find your profile and I land on it, what does it make me do? Do I just look at it and bounce off? No, that's not what I want. I need a call to action that reels them in, okay? That says, contact me to learn more, right? And has my contact information. And if you ever go look at my LinkedIn profile, you will see there's probably like 20 different calls to action. It's all over the profile, depending on where they are. Like if they're on my summary, if they are on the name pronunciation, even the name pronunciation has a call to action. If you're on my summary section, depending on where you are, you need to add a bunch of calls to action inside your profile. So that would be number 2.
Okay, let me stop you there.
Okay.
So let's do one by one. I want to go back to number
Okay.
1 though, just some basics. A photograph. I still have people I'm connected with that don't have a photograph up,
Okay.
right? It's important. A photograph. A title, right? Even if you're out of work, what you do for a living, right? So it can't just be looking for work. You need to be like, I would say, for my claims adjuster handling general liability files in Pennsylvania.
Here's a formula I will give to you that we teach. It's I help X accomplish Y using Z. Okay, so I help companies, or like here's mine. I help job seekers rehumanize their job search, create opportunities, and take control of the financial impact of job loss. Okay, so what do you do? I help X accomplish Y using Z. Z is the method that you use to accomplish the result.
I love it. And so that photograph, title, which is your formula, and then what else? What are the key takeaways? The summary, like what you do for a living?
Yeah. Your summary section needs to, again, right at the very beginning, it needs to basically tell them what you do, right? How you do it, and that you want to do bullet points. Your summary there's a lot to it, and then at the bottom of it, you want to have a call to action again to reel them in, so that as they're reading it, they know what you do, how you do it, and what to do next. Like call you, email you, like what's the best way to get in touch?
So like for the call to action, we'll skip to number 2 now. The call to action, I would kind of say from my target industry would be for the claims professional. If you handle a certain type of claim or file, general liability, workers' comp, employment, whatever it may be, if you handle certain geographic locations, put that in there. And you could speak to, if you're an insurance company looking to hire, please call me at, or whatever it may be. That's the call to action you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Contact me to learn more. Because you got to think about it. You got to put yourself in the shoes of the person that is investigating your profile. Okay. So I find you, and if I am so intrigued by your banner image and your profile headline and your picture and all that, I'm gonna go take a look at your summary. And I go look at your summary, and I open it up, and it tells me what you do, the problem you solve, right? A couple of actionable bullet points that show me results, okay? And then what do I do now? I'm there. Contact me, like call me. Like reach out, send me a DM. You can send me a DM to learn more. Yeah. But you want to drive that person so they know what's the next step. Is it to call you? Is it to text you? Is it to send you an email? Is it a DM? How do you want them to reach you? What's the best method? Well, let's get in touch and take that conversation off of the profile. And that's what the CTA is, the call to action.
And let me pivot for a second, stepping out of the top 5, if you will. And let's talk about the how LinkedIn works from a job standpoint. Is it the HR companies that are going in and doing the searches? Is it that recruiters going in doing the searches, or is it more of maybe you submitted a resume and now they're going to check you out? What does that look like?
All the above. So recruiters are doing active searches, and they're looking for folks. They have their own version of LinkedIn. The recruiter version. So they're doing searches. They're looking for folks. HR is looking for folks, and then you also have, when you apply online, they have the LinkedIn Easy Apply button. And when you do the LinkedIn Easy Apply, you would think your resume would be the first thing that they see. Well, no, it's not your LinkedIn that's the first thing they see. The first thing that they see is your profile, okay? So it needs to be optimized. It needs to be ready and It needs to be able to convert that online traffic. You have to think of your LinkedIn profile as like your website. Okay. If you were a business, a restaurant, okay, and you had a restaurant website, well, you want to drive people to that restaurant website. But then when they get there, what do you want them to do? You want them to call in and place an order, right? Your LinkedIn profile is the exact same thing. It is your website, and it needs to be able to convert that into orders, right? Into conversations.
What do you say to the person that thinks that LinkedIn isn't helpful for them, that says, is very much in the old traditional job searching method where it's website listings and maybe Indeed or something? I mean, how active or how big is LinkedIn for people like the legal field, the claims field, things like that?
I got 2 words for that person. Good luck. Or have fun. No, it's going to be tough. It's just going to be brutal. I mean, maybe if you're okay, like let's get real for a second. If you're not talking about a professional career, right? If you're talking about working at McDonald's, do you need a LinkedIn profile? No. Right? But if you're looking for any kind of professional career, you have to be on LinkedIn. And if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, that employer is wondering what's wrong with this person.
I've done that. As an employer, all lawyers are on LinkedIn, whether they use it or optimize it, I don't know, but every single lawyer I know has a presence, but you can tell the ones that use it and the ones that don't. I definitely go to profiles. And if I see a bare bone profile, I'm like, oh, I'm not sure that person's for me. But I love LinkedIn. I'm like, I'm addicted to it. So that may be me, but
Yeah.
Same here.
Well, let's go back into the list. We did optimize profile. Let's just assume that the first thing they're looking at is your profile. Make sure you know that and optimize it. Spoon feed your potential employer with information. You want to make the information easily digestible. That's
100%.
Optimization. Call to action, which is asking for it. Ask them to call you, which if you don't ask, you don't get. All right, number 3. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say my background was the auto industry, and that was exactly what they told me when I first got in the auto industry. If you don't ask for the business, you're not going to get it. So ask, right? So yeah.
Can I make a shout out? I work for a car dealership, Ford Lincoln, Vista
Nice.
Ford Lincoln, Woodland Hills in Oxnard, California. The new Bronco has landed. Get in line.
Ooh, hey, that Bronco looks pretty hot.
Isn't it beautiful?
So you must know this guy then. You must know who this guy is if you're from the auto industry. You know that guy? You know that?
Grant Cardone.
Grant Cardone?
No, I don't.
What?
Yeah. Am I being shamed? Am I being shamed? I feel a little shamed here. I don't.
Oh man, Grant Cardone, you need to go check out Grant Cardone. So this book is so funny. I know we're digressing off a side path.
That's right.
This book, Close the Sale. Okay, this was 11 years ago. I went to his sales conference, and after I went to his sales conference, I was the top producer in the auto industry 6 years in a row.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you need hey, Trevor? Do you need a job?
No, I'm good.
We're hiring.
But,
What's it gonna take? Come on, tell me.
You trying to close me right now?
I am.
I know some job seekers that might be able to come over there. And
hey, look. It's a work connection.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, we're connecting people as we speak. That's
what awesome. Were you selling?
Hyundai, Huffines, Hyundai, McKinney. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to have to talk more offline because I think I can get you to come work for me.
I don't know about that, but we'll see.
She's very persuasive, Trevor.
I escaped the auto industry. I want you to know that. Anybody that notice the key word escaped.
All right.
Hold on. I was the top producer.
We'll talk more later.
You
just weren't at the right dealership. You weren't at the right place. Okay.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
so
I have to say, just to finish up the auto theme here, I have to say you learn a lot of skills from selling cars.
Oh my
goodness,
a lot
of skills. Like I remember in high school, I had like a series of jobs. One was I was a greeter at a used car lot. I had to go out and greet the people to get them to fill out information to put in a sweepstake, which was just a ploy to get their information. But you get to a point where you don't care what people think of you. You just go out there and do it. And it builds some mindset muscle, I have to say.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
All right. So
I wouldn't, let's put it this way. I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. That was a platform for me. Okay. That was an absolute 100% platform for me to catapult, to the next level of success in my life. But yes, 100% love it.
You just gave me a great recruiting strategy.
Yeah.
What is it?
That's what I'm going to use. That's what I'm going to use is you can't get this experience anywhere else in sales. Come earn your stripes at the dealership.
Oh yeah.
I had a really quick question. I hope it's a quick question. How do you feel about the profile picture and potential discrimination claims? Because, and I don't know if you have any opinions or whatever, I'm certainly not going there, but I'm an employment lawyer. That's my origin and my roots. And, an employment lawyer in California, which is, very different than the rest of the country. Right. So, we've got the bare bones employment application. We can't ask about criminal history, certainly no picture.
No
We don't ask for age. You can't ask about their salary and all this other stuff. And, back when I was in private practice, I defended cases where there were unsavory employers writing, information on applications to indicate race. Well, on LinkedIn, you don't need any code. You've got a picture pretty much. And I would, love to think that people don't take that into consideration, but gosh, and I'm happy to see there's all this diversity and inclusion going on.
Sure.
But unfortunately, I know the reality is it still happens. And, so how would you feel like if I used a white man's picture for my profile? Do you think that would be okay? I mean, they can't tell. I get Mr. Herculean all the time. They have no idea I'm a woman.
I would say don't do that, number one, because you're catfishing the employer, okay?
Catfish?
I talk about, catfish. So in the dating world, okay, when what you see online is not what you get in person.
That's
okay?
catfish?
That's called catfishing, okay?
Like a bait and switch,
Yeah, like a bait and switch. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
In the dating world, they call it catfishing, right? Like when you see this, like look at the profile, it's some beautiful, and then whoa, like you get there, oh, that's not what, or like it's a beautiful woman, and then it's a man, and no, don't do that. Like,
okay.
So don't because
don't do that.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Like, wow, don't do that. Okay. And we even show people with the pictures, right? Their profile pictures. Don't do too much editing, right? You're going to do all this Photoshop and make yourself look, 30 years younger. The number one bias that we see, it's not racism. That's not the number one bias that we see. It's ageism. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the number one when it comes to job search. Okay. It's not what race or what gender you are. It is age. Okay, once you get that 5 in your number, you're 50.
Really? It's 5?
Well, actually, it really starts in the mid 40s. But
I'm glad I'm so far away from that.
I'm telling you,
Good
once
night.
you hit 50, right? Well, think about it. I remember when I was young and my grandpa turned 50. Okay, my grandpa turned 50. It was his 50th birthday. And what did we do? We brought all these gag gifts, and they were over the hill, and we brought him a cane and one of those little things with a little horn on it. It was a little cane with a horn on it and all this stuff. Like we were making jokes at him. He was over the hill, right? That's the way these employers feel about you, that you're like, and it's so not true. They have so much more value, right? They have experience, and these people are super valuable, but there's ageism.
Yeah.
So
I have a question about that, and hopefully this will help members of our audience. I appreciate you being so candid about that. And I don't understand it either, honestly. I mean, as an employer myself, I would love to have somebody who already has all the skills and the experience and whatever. But anyway, keeping in mind that that does happen, do you have any advice to our more mature audience members who are job seekers? How do you get over that issue? What can you do?
I would say the biggest thing that they're concerned about when it comes to the baby boomer generation, it's adaptability, okay? We live in such a fast-paced, moving world, okay? Everything is pop, 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 pop. Companies that have been around forever and ever and ever just went under with COVID because they weren't able to adapt and adjust and move and pivot, right? Like if you don't move in 2020, you're gonna die. Look at Blockbuster. Blockbuster should still be here. Blockbuster should be a streaming service on your TV, on Roku, right now. What happened to Blockbuster? They didn't adapt, okay? And that's what they're afraid with the baby boomer generation is they're a little bit slower when it comes to technology, when it comes to adapting. They're the resistor generation. They're like, you know, they're the ones that are like, I don't know about this Facebook thing. I don't know about this. No, get with it. You got to get with it. Get on LinkedIn. Like, you know, so that's what I would say is that the baby boomer generation just needs to be a little bit faster. Like, get with technology, you know, adapt, be able to show that you are capable of adapting, and you'll be fine.
Those are great points. And I was just thinking, going back to our top 5 list, which I think we're like on number 2 or something. I'm not good with the math.
We're on number 3. We're about to start number 3 to
Here you go. Yeah, that's why I went to law school. So, you know what I was thinking, and perhaps you've already got this, but I was thinking, you know, how could they illustrate these things on their profile without just the conclusory statement, like I'm adaptable, I can adapt to change. Sure. I wonder if you know, if you include somewhere Excel certificates, softwares that you're familiar with, the different platforms that you're on, to illustrate that you are keeping up with the technology.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. There's the featured section on your LinkedIn profile. That's where you want to really have, that's part of optimizing is that featured section, right? That featured section is like, to me now, that's a new part of LinkedIn. That featured section is so important. That's almost more important to me than the about section, right? The summary, because you can showcase all kinds of things there. You can put a video in there that shows your capabilities. You could write an article. There's so many things you could do, right? And showcase it right there in the featured section. So when they land on your profile, they see it, they play the video, or they look at different things and like, wow. You want to make the employer say, wow, like I misjudged this person. You know, at first glance, I thought they were too old, or I can't teach an old dog a new trick. That's the old saying, right? Can't teach. No, but then all of a sudden they see that featured section and you make them go, wow, I need to learn more because I misjudged this person.
And that is the beauty of LinkedIn, that you have the ability to make people, if you get them to your profile, you have the ability to make employers go, wow. And if you can elicit that response within the first couple seconds, you know, first impressions, 3-second rule, whatever you call it, you'll stand out more than anybody else, because very few people are making the wow, appearance. So, well, let's go back to let's start with number 3. What's your third piece of advice for people on LinkedIn that could stand out?
To help them stand out, I would say you need to create content, okay? And if you're not creating content, you're doing yourself a disservice, right? Because LinkedIn rewards active users, okay? Because there's like 700,000 users on LinkedIn right now, something like that. It's getting close to a billion, okay? Well, not all of those are active. Like half of them are active. The other half, they set up a profile, 5 years ago, and then they have never done anything with it, right? So be an active user. LinkedIn will reward you. You'll show up more in the news feed. You're going to show up when you create content. You want to be creating, sharing, liking, commenting. Commenting is real important, okay? Because that's adding value on other people's content, and you're going to start showing up in their news feeds. So the activity and creating, again, creating content positions you as the expert in your industry. So let's say I'm in HR. What I want to do is create content around HR. You're the expert in there, in that space. Well, go create content around it. Show people why you're the expert. And those are the different things that you want to feature on your profile so that when they land there, all of a sudden they go, oh, wow, this person really does know what they're talking about.
And this is where I think a lot of my client leads get the hiccup because they're afraid to put out content. They're afraid to comment. They think, one, a lot of the industry that they're in, whether they're lawyers or claims professional, they're afraid to put out legal advice or something that's going to get them in trouble or come back to bite them or something their employer isn't going to like to see. What do you say to that person? Because I have a lot of lurkers. I have a lot of my clients that will look at my content, but they won't ever comment. And they'll tell me, and they'll text me, Trisha, I really liked your post today, but I can't comment. I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
What do you say to the person like that?
Yeah, those are what we call window shoppers. Okay, I call it, or you call them lurkers, I call them window shoppers. I love that. Yeah, get with it. Okay, so if you're not creating content, you're doing yourself a disservice. Like you said, you're afraid. Guys, I want to tell you, fear is the enemy holding you back from your true potential, from what you're called to be. Okay, we were all given gifts and talents by God Himself. We were put here on this earth to make a difference and make an impact. Okay, and the enemy wants to steal that from you, wants to kill your joy, wants to lie, kill, and destroy, wants to keep you in a position where you're afraid and, oh my gosh, what are these people going to think of me? And if I comment, no. That's the enemy. Okay? Fear is the opposite of faith. Okay? So have faith, get out there, be you, be authentic, be genuine, tell your story, right? So many people are afraid today to tell their true story, you know? Like even the times that we've been wounded, the times that we've failed, those are the real stories. That's the stuff people want to hear. Right? People are so afraid of judgment.
I totally agree with you. And I say, like, I was on a Zoom webinar talking about networking and to young lawyers. And I had a lawyer say, you know what? I came to the legal profession later in life. Like, I didn't go to law school to my mid 40s, and I'm graduating and I'm struggling to connect with my other alum because they're all younger than me. I'm like, what a beautiful story, because there are other people like you out there. Imagine that you post that story. Maybe there's a recruiter out there that has the exact same experience as you. You've just connected with that person. Share your story, share your struggles. It will inevitably benefit somebody else.
Yes.
So even if you're not out there to give advice or value, just share what you find value or what your story is in. And then
think about this, okay? So people love the underdog. Right? People just love the underdog. And I know we were talking earlier about sports and all this, so I'm gonna relate it to sports real quick. And you'll like this one because you're an Eagles fan, right?
Yes.
Okay, you'll like this one. So if you remember, I can't remember exactly what year it was, but a few years back, Tom Brady with the Patriots, he went 16-0. Okay, undefeated season, perfect, flawless season. Goes through the playoffs, makes it to the Super Bowl, and he faces the no, I'm sorry, it wasn't the Eagles, it was the Giants. Sorry, my bad. The Giants. So he faces the Giants, and the Giants were like barely squeezed into the playoffs, struggled to make it into, they got there though. They got to the Super Bowl. And Eli Manning, like down to the wire, last minute, like Hail Mary type pass. Eli wins the Super Bowl, beats the undefeated, flawless Patriots. Okay. Now I want you to think about that story. It wouldn't have the same impact if Tom Brady won. If Tom Brady was undefeated the whole way through and won, and everybody's like, oh, okay, wow, they were awesome. That was good. But you got the underdog who was totally not even supposed to be in that Super Bowl, beats the undefeated. Man, that's a story that people want to hear and people want to cheer that on. And I'm not even a Giants fan. I hate the Giants, but man, I loved that Super Bowl. That was an amazing Super Bowl, right?
It is a great story. You know, especially if you struggle with something and you are the underdog in some way, shape, or form, sharing it, you're gonna relate to somebody. Yes. Somebody's gonna find value in that. I would also say, just to piggyback on the, posting and commenting, start baby steps. Start on the comments. start with, people in your industry that are posting original posts. Go ahead and leave a comment, even if it's, nice job. It's great to see this. It doesn't have to be anything life-changing at first, just baby step, and get them to know you, get in front of them. And I think that would be helpful.
I feel like an easy one is thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
As far as a, non-controversial comment, although I'm sure some lawyer could find a problem with it,
Lawyers can find a problem with anything, I'm sure.
I know it can be pretty horrible.
All right. So sorry, Stellar, did you have a question? I totally interrupted you.
I did. I mean, it's just a question. You can decide whether or not to answer it. I don't do sports. I mean, I do the yoga and I do the running. Those are my idea of sports. So I can't really understand what you're talking about with the football. And I was wondering if you could provide like an analogy that I could relate to, like with cooking, like the souffle.
How about David and Goliath?
David and Goliath. I got it. Okay.
David and Goliath. That's
absolutely.
That was that Super Bowl.
Yep,
right? You
yep.
had Goliath, undefeated champion, 10 feet tall. And you had David with a slingshot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
And by the way,
Super Bowl was.
In case it wasn't clear, I mean, I know exactly what you were talking about, but I just thought it would be fun to put you in the hot seat and come up with a, female version of the analogy.
She's a big fan of the hot seat, Trevor. So just
I like making people feel uncomfortable in good fun, not for bad reasons. And that was a good reason.
All right, let's go to number 4, I think, right? What's your 4th tip for job seekers?
Let's see what I got. Okay, connect. Okay, so connect with people and don't be afraid to connect. Okay, I see all the time that these job seekers, they'll get a connection request. Like somebody is literally reaching out to connect with them. Like, that's a great thing. Wouldn't you agree? Somebody wants to connect with you, but they're afraid to do it because they're afraid these people are going to sell them something. So somewhere along the line, somebody tried to sell them something. And so now they're, and I will say this too, if you're selling on LinkedIn, if you're just doing it like that and you're too aggressive, like quit doing that. Stop, DMing people right off the bat, trying to sell them stuff. Number one, it's a turnoff, but that's what's happening. So people are afraid to connect because they're afraid to get sold something. But here's my view on that. You have control. You're in the driver's seat. And if you connect with someone and they break that trust by immediately trying to sell you something, pitching you something, well, then you have the option at that point to block them. You could remove the connection. You can just disconnect from them, right? But here's why I think this is so important. I have a personal story. I had one of these people do it to me. They were trying to sell me something. I connected with them anyways. And years later, I had been creating content, been creating videos. They had been consuming my content for years, okay? They were a window shopper, okay? They were never commenting. They never commented on any of those posts. Then I stopped. I stopped making videos for about 6 months. That's when they reached out and they said, Trevor, why did you quit making videos? You don't know this, but you've been making a big impact in my life. I've been watching your videos, I've been consuming your content, and one of your videos prevented me from committing suicide.
Wow.
Right? And that's when I was like, oh my gosh. That's when truly the light bulb went off, like the impact and the responsibility we have.
Yeah.
Right? Like this little device right here, this smartphone, we have a freaking responsibility, right, to make an impact on this world. And each person can do it. Anybody can do it. Why people aren't doing it, I don't know. No, and your content makes an impact with the window shoppers too. Okay, just because they're not commenting doesn't mean they're not watching or listening, and you're not impacting their life.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like I said, I get text messages from clients, especially the more personal I get, the more they relate to it and
Mhm.
it impacts them. I've gotten people that have texted me and said, this meant really a lot to me. I went through
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z with this person. And, and it's stuff like I've known some of these people for 10 years and I've never had them tell me that before. So it is really.
Could you imagine, like, if I didn't connect with that person because they were trying to sell me something,
Yeah.
right? Like, totally different story. Who knows if that person would even be here today, right?
I love that.
I don't know, but it just, it's responsibility and impact. Go ahead and connect. Don't be afraid. If they break the trust, okay, give them the trust. You don't have to. Trust is not earned. People talk about that all the time. You got to earn trust. No. Trust is given until you break trust.
Mhm.
Give people trust, right? Give it to them, and if they break it, that's when you can block them. That's when you can delete from. If they're spamming you, I give you full right to disconnect or block. But go ahead and connect with them.
I love that. Connect with people, connect with more people in your industry,
Mhm.
especially if you're lawyers and claim professionals. It is a relatively small industry that people do look out for each other. I know if, there's a claims professional that says I'm out of work and looking for a job and that is seen by somebody else that their company is hiring, there's that camaraderie there, they would help out. So connect with more people that work for the companies that you want to work for. Connect with the company pages. Sometimes they post their job ads on there too. So follow the company pages.
100%. You have to connect with them, follow them, and tailor your newsfeed because do you want LinkedIn to determine what you see every day? No, you want to determine what you see every day. If I'm a job seeker, I want to see things that are relevant to my job search, right? That's why I'm on the platform. So I'm going to follow companies that I want to work for. I want to follow recruiters that work for those companies. I want to follow the hashtags of the industry that I'm in. I'm going to tailor my own news feed every day. When I open up my phone, I'm going to see things that are relevant to me, not what just LinkedIn wants to show me.
I love that. So let's wrap up number 5.
Okay.
Before we move on, what's the 5th tip that you have?
Personalize your outbound connections. Okay. When you're trying to connect with somebody, this is a concept I was featured on Forbes for, which is sending a personalized video message in your connection request so that, you have actually, here's what's funny is I've got this right here. I have this little whiteboard. And what I would do is I would write their name on it. And in your video message, their name's on there. So if I have, let's say, Talar, right?
Yes.
If I had your name on this and I sent you a message like this and I said, hey, Talar, hey, just wanted to reach out to you. I loved your content. I thought that video you posted was amazing, how you were talking about X, Y, and Z. I thought that was really awesome. You know what? I'd love to connect with you. Let's have a quick chat, maybe sometime soon. But yeah, let's get connected. And I hope you have a blessed day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
I love that.
Like, Talar's going to connect with me. Right?
Maybe.
Maybe.
She would be a fan for life. Don't let her fool you.
Yeah, she connect with me.
Yeah, I would. I do have one more strategy though for the people who try to sell me something. I am never afraid of them trying to sell me something because I actually fundraise for a charity, Society for Orphaned Army and Relief. So when they try to sell me something, I say, gosh, you must be really good at your job. Must have a lot of money. Would you like to donate to my fundraiser? And then it's radio silence.
I love that. You flip it on them. You're like,
I do. I just flip the script.
That is the best. That is so funny because you get crickets after that. They're like, I'm out of here.
I will tell you, sometimes they will donate.
Awesome.
I still won't buy their products because I don't have enough money, but sometimes they do donate. You'd be surprised. Now, the other part that's really fun that I like to do sometimes, not so often, because I don't have a sales license to sell cars, is when they try to sell me something, I'll say, no, but what are you driving? Can I get you into a new Ford?
I love it. That's just great. You're just flipping it. And you know what? You said sometimes people will donate too. So that's good.
Yeah. Anyway,
Win-win.
so that's my tip for the day.
They either donate or go away.
Exactly. The end result is good either way.
Well, I know we have to start to wrap this up. A couple things that I wanted to cover before we did. One, I've seen you feature job seekers on video on
Yes.
your page. How does that happen?
Yeah, they got to connect with the Who You Know Summit. That's the course that we teach on Mondays. Okay, so they come through there. We talk to them about all these different strategies, different things they can do, a lot of the stuff we talked about today, but we go in depth, right? And it's a 2-hour summit. When they go through there, I give them an offer. I say, hey, listen, you need to have this featured on your profile, right? You need to have what we call the 1-minute commercial, right? It's your elevator pitch, right? It's your, what do you do? I was talking earlier, your headline, I help X accomplish Y using Z, right? You need to have that captured on video so that when these employers land on your profile, you can pull them in, and that will show that you're not an old dinosaur, right? Like, we were talking about the ageism, right? Especially if people are facing ageism, like it'll show these employers that you can do a lot. So anyways, yeah, they come through the summit, and I make it easy for them too. All they got to do is follow my process, and it's free. They don't have to pay for anything. We edit it. I have a team that edits those videos and puts it together. And we have people. I got one right just the other day that's landing a job because of their video. Like, that video is what's landing her the job. She's telling me that. She's saying, "Oh my gosh, this video popped up, and the CEO of the company saw it and said, call this girl, call her," right?
Well, I love that. So if anybody's listening, and Trevor's got a huge network. If you don't know that already, check his page on LinkedIn, but it's not just LinkedIn, it's multiple platforms, a huge network exactly of the people, the recruiters, the job searchers, if you will. So if you want to get featured, sign up for his summit. Yep. And get on video, because video is life-changing when it comes to standing out. It's really not a lot of people do it. So when you do it, you stand out. It's
the difference between, there was a debate the other day on LinkedIn about text versus video, right? And all I have to say to this is a drop the mic. Here, I got my mic right here. This is a drop the mic right here, right? I want you to think about it. Before the written word, there was the spoken word. Okay, God said, let there be light. He said, he spoke. Okay, we are better face to face. We are better in person. You're better on video. Okay, your copy, your text will never, ever, ever show someone who you are, right? They may be able to get some value from it, but the video is going to show them who you are. They're going to, why don't they just hire you from your resume? Why do they interview you in the first place? Why do they do an interview? Why do they zoom in and do these interviews right now? Because they want to know who you are. And your resume is not doing the trick. Your black and white text just isn't cutting it.
We could do a whole other podcast on video, because they talk about fear. I mean, I know a lot of lawyers out there that don't have any fear walking into a courtroom and being on the record, forever solidified on a written record. And in front of 400 people and judges and clients, but somehow getting in front of video, no, you're on video, Talar, I think. But yeah, somehow them stepping in front of video and posting it is scary. And I feel it. I was scared the first time I did it. So I get that fear. But yeah, I'm with you. Especially with COVID, when the in-person stuff isn't really happening anyway, at least not to the extent that it was, anything you can stand out, video will be the one for you. So
100%.
All right. So last thing I want to talk about is, tell me about Social Movement? Is this the documentary?
Yeah, the Social Movement. So the first season will be airing Amazon Prime on Earth Day 2021. So it all got postponed because of COVID, right? So I will be on season 2. So in June of 2021, I will be filming, and basically let me give you kind of a snapshot of what this docuseries is about. You've got CEOs, business owners, entrepreneurs, from all over the world flying in to go on this show and to collaborate. You've got people from all walks of life and from all backgrounds, ethnicities, and demographics and ages too. So you're going to have like the Gen Z all the way to the baby boomer generation. So it's going to be like this massive collaboration. And what we're doing is we're collaborating on teams to solve social issues, okay? So to give you some idea of what some of these social issues are, we're talking some big ones. So like racism, pandemics, world hunger, suicide. I'm actually going to be on team suicide. Suicide runs in my family. No one's been successful, thankfully, but they've attempted many times. And so it's something I'm extremely passionate about. And so you go and you collaborate on teams to try to come up with a business solution to actually solve that problem. So like, how do you solve suicide? Oh my gosh, like that's a big one,
Yeah.
right? And we got to create a business. And so we collaborate on teams. They have hidden judges who will then be, judging, and then you'll have a winner. Okay, the winning team, they actually move forward to create that business. Okay, and they do crowdfunding and different things like that, and they would get money, raise money, and all this kind of stuff to put that business together to actually solve that problem. It's just it's such a cool, what a blessing. I feel so blessed to be able to go and be part of that, because whether I win or not, that's irrelevant. If I can go on there and make an impact with one person, just one person, that's all the difference I need to make.
I love that. You'll have to, if you can, come back on before it airs or right when it airs or when it drops. I'd love to just talk to more in depth about that. I'm a documentary freak. I love them. That's all I ever really watch anymore anyway. So I will be sure to watch that. That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, definitely. Check it out.
So, well, I thank you so much for coming on. Before I let you go, tell the listeners where they can find you, especially if you're out of work, what they can do to connect with you and use the resources that you've pulled together.
Yeah, go connect with me on LinkedIn. Trevor Houston, Houston like the city, Houston. Connect with me there, and from there we'll get you plugged into the summit, and we got so much stuff going on. But it all starts in that summit. Come to the summit. It's on Mondays at 1 p.m. Central. And then we'll get you connected with the show. We'll get you connected with everything else we got going on. So much stuff.
Hey, Trevor, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for everything that you're doing on behalf of the world. I thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, yes, Trevor, thank you so much for coming on. I got to think that somebody at least took one tidbit, whether it's a mindset tidbit or a real actionable item tidbit from this. It's whatever you take away, it's super important. So I thank you for coming on. Until next time when you come back on to promote the social movement, which I can't wait for. So, all right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks to Lar. Thanks, Trevor. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Make sure you tune in next time for the Defense Never Rests. We will see you then.